right, let's bring in Scott Reid, CTV News political commentator. Hey, Scott, good to see you. Your thoughts on what Preston Manning is saying, if we can start there, about how a vote for Carney and the Liberals is a threat to Canadian unity. Your take?
Well, for somebody who stood on the national stage like Mr. Manning, it really is fundamentally disgraceful. We're at a time where the country's being tested. We're being really put through the ringer by the largest economy, largest country in the world, our largest partner. And, the truth of the matter is that if national leaders wanted to divide the country, if they wanted to really exacerbate tensions, and we would have come out of the chute by putting an export tax on our oil and gas, would have really created a bigger burden on the West. That has not happened. Prime Minister Carney has been very measured on that, brought the premiers together. So I think for Mr. Manning to suggest that any vote other than the one that he prefers is a threat to national unity and inflames Western secession is really disgraceful. And it obviously begs the suggestion that maybe it is Mr. Manning who is fanning the flames of disunity.
Let me ask you about the polling as well. And we're only day 13, but the Liberals continue to maintain a wide lead over the Conservatives, according to Nick Nanos, doing this for CTV and the Globe and Mail. Should the Liberals be concerned about that wide of a lead with a long way to go? In other words, there's nowhere to go but down, or not? What do you think, Scott?
Well, as problems go, that's exactly the one you want to have after 2 weeks of a 5-week campaign. You want to be so far in command of the campaign that people are wondering whether or not you sustain it. That being said, it is its own set of problems. And I think, interestingly for the Conservatives, there could be a window here. There could be an opportunity. We are past Donald Trump's much ballyhooed Liberation Day, the imposition of tariffs all around the world. And we've seen the automaker tariffs come in, and steel and aluminum. And it would be foolish to suggest that Donald Trump is going to escape our notice or that he's going to leave our news cycle for the next few days. But it's possible that this campaign will begin to look for a handful of days like a normal campaign. And that may be an opportunity for the Conservatives. Can they get back on track? Can they start to take the message and define the message, drive this election in a way that they've not been able in the first couple of weeks? In particular, when you look at Nick Nanos's numbers, you see that Mark Carney is preferred by 50% of Canadians as prime minister. I'm telling you right now, the Conservatives have got to take some of the stuffing out of Mark Carney. They've got to make him wear some of the Trudeau government. So I would look for a big splurge of ads that are negative coming from the Conservatives, aim straight at Mark Carney, try to bring him down to earth, and then watch and see if the Conservatives can try to muscle this election campaign back onto time for a change and away from a constant conversation about Donald Trump.
Yeah, so we're seeing that right today in Quebec, where Pierre Poilievre is once again talking about cutting down, fighting the crime and making tougher sentences for those who are found guilty. You're saying that if things are relatively quiet from Washington over the next 3 weeks or so, that could benefit the Conservatives in the sense that it becomes more of a domestic campaign. Enough of Trump's interference. We focus on things like housing, like inflation, the cost of living, crime, you name it.
Precisely. We return to a normal election campaign. Nothing has been normal about this election campaign. You got a guy who was never in elected politics is suddenly our prime minister. He walks onto the scene. People immediately look at him and say, this guy knows what he's doing. This guy is the right guy to deal with Donald Trump. And we have our American partner throwing its cannons straight at us. So nothing has been normal. And the Conservatives have been struggling to find traction and get into the right gear. Now, if they can start to move over the course of the next week, narrow those polls, then there's a debate in 10 days. Perhaps that gives them an opportunity, to make some traction. But if I were them, I wouldn't waste $1. I wouldn't waste a second. Now is the time to move. In golf, they call Saturdays moving day. Well, this second to third week in an election campaign is moving week. They've got to move these numbers, because if they enter the debate this far back, and this overwhelmed, they're not going to like how Election Day looks.
Good to see you, my friend. We'll talk again real soon.
Thanks. Same to you.
All right. Scott Reid, political commentator, with his take, day 13 of this election.